How the hell am I? I am so glad that you asked. The vitriol is back. That's how the hell I am. Hey guys, how the hell are ya? So, today we're going to do an all-new unbiased gear review on this. The Koloss GT-6. But first, some specs on this piece of shit. This is a two-piece aluminum body guitar with a carbon fiber neck and a carbon fiber fingerboard. 24 frets. We have Koloss locking tuners, and we also have a proprietary design Avioator locking bridge. So with that, let's just go right on into the review of this guitar. Because here's the thing, there's so many issues going on with this instrument. There's a lot of potential, but man, like, okay, for starters, I can't even do a demo song for this instrument like I normally do at the beginning of this video. I know a few of you guys are wondering, hey, Arnold, where's the brutes? There isn't any. There's not going to be any. And the reason why is because of how fucking shitty this thing sounds, number one. Number two, the fact that it can't hold its tuning for any fucking length of time whatsoever. There's other issues too, but those are the primary big ones. First of all, let's just kind of give a quick once-over of a few things on this instrument that I like, because there's honestly so few of these that I'm going to just be able to get this out of the way. First, before we get to the hate, let me just state flat out, whenever I go into a gear review of any sort, I don't go into this with the intention of roasting the fuck out of anything. Quite the contrary. I was in contact with Koloss guitars, and I wanted to get these on this channel because I played one at NAMM. I thought it was kind of cool, kind of interesting. I was like, hey, let me get one on the channel. Let me check this out. After first talking with one person who had worked for the company and then left the company already before the year was even halfway done, I was like, huh, that's a little strange. That's a little weird. But, you know, let me still poke and prod a little bit. Let me get in here and see if we can get some instruments on this channel all the same, even though my contact already left the company. And lo and behold, started talking to the owner through Instagram. Next thing I know, I've got two instruments sent to me. I have this one, and I have a kit instrument that a few of you guys have watched me attempt to put together on live stream recently. By the way, if you aren't already following me on the live streams, please head to twitch.tv/ArnoldPlaysGuitar. And in this particular instance, you could have seen me suffer through that in real time. But now, back to the review of this particular instrument, the GT-6. This is the one that arrived pre-assembled, and it arrived with a very killer gig bag, which I will show you now. This was the gig bag that it arrived in, and honestly, this gig bag is probably the best thing about this instrument, because it's kind of a cheapy equivalent of a mono bag. It's got removable padding on the inside, whatever, that's fine. But it's also got a headrest. It can secure onto the headrest a little bit there. All in all, this is not a bad bag at all. It's actually a pretty damn good bag. I would highly recommend this bag. Not the guitar that came in it, though. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about a few things on this instrument that are pretty okay. With regards to the fretwork, now, granted, the frets are not level. There's definitely a few spots, primarily like the 6th fret, there's a little bit of buzzing that happens if you try to fret anything on the 6th fret. And there's also a little bit of buzz up here around about where the neck joins with the guitar. So, okay, fret buzz is one thing, but the fret edges, very, very nice. Very comfortable. Even the nut is not super bad. Like, this is meant to be a budget instrument made in China, and for the nut to be as flush as it is, and for the frets to be as flush as they are, and as filed down as they are, and as smooth as they are, is really, really nice. It really is. It really is nice. People are going to call out these sort of brass side dots that exist on the fretboard here. I actually don't mind those so much, but they do have an actual raised edge to them. So if you're someone who tends to play like with the thumb over, you might notice that quite a bit. Me, myself, not so much, at least not in any way that it hindered playability. To me, I actually thought it was kind of neat because I would have my thumb hitting those things and, oh, instantly, I know, hey, I'm on the 7th fret here, I'm on the 3rd fret here, etc. So it wasn't such a bad thing, to be honest with you. However, the neck that they are in is not all that great. I am not going to drill into this neck to tell you about it, but I did manage to drill into the kit guitar neck because I had to. That's the subject of another video, but this is not carbon fiber. I don't know a lot, but I do know this. I know that this is not carbon fiber. This is a hard plastic meant to look like carbon fiber. This is definitely not carbon fiber. At this price point, I should not have been surprised that it's not carbon fiber. But when it's advertised as carbon fiber, give me carbon fiber. If there's different grades of it, I don't know. But I don't even care if it's like a super cheap grade. But this is not carbon fiber. This is a hard plastic, hard composite of some sort meant to imitate carbon fiber. These locking tuners, not terrible, not awesome. They tend to turn rather nicely on this instrument. They tend to lock down rather well on this instrument. And aesthetically, I would say that I actually like these fake pearl tuning pegs. I think it looks kind of cool. Speaking of cool looks, I love the aesthetic of this thing. That was one of the things also that made me want to get one of these on this channel. It looks fucking rad, in my opinion. I love the offset body. I love the design of the body. I think that, you know, the shape of the bridge, which we will get to in a minute, I feel like the shape of the bridge is pretty cool. I love this blue. I think that this thing looks like a badass instrument. However, the functionality, the playability is shot. All right, let's talk about these electronics. Placement, not all that great. I would love it if this volume knob was moved a little bit south because it is just close enough that it does hinder playability a little bit when you're playing the chugs. This switch, although I actually like this switch, it's big, it's bold, it's beefy, it looks like it's fucking heavy duty. It's in the worst place imaginable for pickup switching if you're one of those guys like me that when I'm playing like a riff and then I want to switch to the neck pickup, I do that. Or when I'm switching back down to the bridge pickup so I can play riffs again, I do that. This is sandwiched right in between the two knobs, and it's not exactly the easiest access when you're doing that. I have to be consciously thinking, like when you go to swipe down with your palm, that it's over that knob. That is something that could affect playability. That's something that could take my eye off the ball when I'm playing. Not that I'm a fantastic musician or anything, but what if a fantastic musician was to get this thing and all of a sudden now he has to think about something other than what he's playing? That is already off to a bad start here. The switch for The coil tap is also one that feels like it's nice and heavy duty. These are alpha pots that are in here, so take it for what it is. You find those in a lot of instruments of varying degrees of quality. They seem to be pretty okay. Probably not as awesome as like a Bourne's or a CTS, but they're still sufficient and they do the job. Opening this thing up, it's a fucking rat's nest in here as far as the electronics go. They're kind of in the way of everything. They're also in the way of the bridge, so if you wanted to get in there and putz around with the bridge to like see about fixing the setup, good luck to you. But if you wanted to get in there and see about fixing the setup, cables are just loose and strewn all over the place. Mind you, this is not the kit guitar. This is the one that was sent to me pre-assembled at the factory. Cables are just kind of loose. Not necessarily saying that they're definitely going to get caught in something, but they could. This jack placement that's on the back here, that is the worst placement for a deep dish jack. Because, especially for a guitarist like me, when I play electric, I play in the classical position. I don't play like on my knee like this, which that's fine if you're one of those guys that likes to fucking cowboy it up and, yeah, I'm gonna tell you a love song. That's fine. That jack placement is great. But if you're like me and you like to have the guitar sitting right here, that jack placement means that that cable is poking me right in the dick. Right in the dick when I'm playing. All right. I understand this isn't all that important, but it's something that alludes to how shit we're about to get here. Okay. The logo that's on here. All right, when I first got this instrument, there was a piece of plastic that was over the logo here. And when I went to remove that piece of plastic, some of the letters from Koloss started to come up with it. So I almost had a KLS guitar. So I put it right back down again. And this time I like kind of brushed over it with my thumb just to kind of make sure everything stuck down. And then I peeled off the plastic and all the letters stuck. But I mean, that's something simple and stupid that shouldn't be an issue. And we haven't even gotten to the real shit show yet. All right. With regards to the setup and with the bridge that this thing arrived in via the factory. So, all right, first of all, nice and straight neck, set up at kind of the perfect string height. A few points on your side with that. This bridge is worthless. This bridge is a waste of fucking metal. I was informed that, oh, this is a locking bridge. No, there's nothing locking about this bridge. But when you grab the ends of the fine tuners and you just kind of wiggle them back and forth, oh, by the way, there shouldn't be any wiggling back and forth. That's the real point here. When I grab the tuner, and unless I'm exerting enough force to actually change the tuning, there shouldn't be any wiggle. There shouldn't be any play here. What the fuck is that all about? And then, much to my horror, when I look down and I see that as I'm doing that, the actual string itself is shifting back and forth like this. Some of you guys have seen a video on my Facebook and Instagram demonstrating that. I'm going to include another video right here. See that? That shouldn't be happening. And it does that on all of the saddles too. Like, this is a fundamental design flaw. This is bullshit. This is something that should have never, ever left R&D. I'm sorry. Like, if you can't design a bridge where there is zero string end movement, you don't have a bridge. You have a waste of your own time designing it. You have a waste of the materials that went into building it. And therefore, you have caused immense problems to anyone who is unfortunate enough. I'm not going to say dumb enough. Anyone unfortunate enough to put their hopes on a brand new company like this, buy this instrument and think, oh, I'll bet you it'll kick ass. I'll bet you mine will rock. Nope. Nope, it won't. This is bullshit. And I've heard that a lot of other owners of these, a lot of other YouTubers who have gotten these have had similar issues. That they just can't get this thing set up to where it holds any fucking tuning. And here, speaking of that, speaking of the setup, when I got this thing, no setup whatsoever. Send it to me with some sort of setup from the factory. There were 2 saddles, number 1, that were bottomed out. They were so far forward they couldn't go forward anymore, which that's already a big enough problem. All right, I took the strings out of every single saddle on this bridge. Every single saddle was loose enough that I could push on it with enough force and cause movement. Every single intonation screw needed to be clamped down, needed to be tightened down so that I could actually sort of kind of intonate this instrument. And when I say sort of kind of, I mean, I think there's 1 string on this guitar that is properly intonated. And God help me, man, I tried, all right? I tried 3 separate times. I was reseating the strings up here at the nut. I was re-stretching the strings, thinking maybe that was a problem. I was reseating the strings on the bridge itself. I was re-tightening down the intonation screws. It does not fucking intonate. All right? So there again, anyone that's concerned about why there was no demo song at the beginning of this video, it's because there can't be. You can't tune up this thing. You can't intonate this thing. Like, you can tune it up to where it plays a chord, but then literally as soon as a strong gust of wind hits this bridge, it just goes out of tune. Because there again, every single string that's on here has give. What the fuck? I'll even go you another one as far as the setup goes. Taking this thing off, there's a piece of aluminum right here. I'll show a picture. That piece of aluminum that the claw screws into wasn't even tightened down. What the fuck? Just another thing that's loose that could cause tuning instability? When I tried to do the setup, I tightened down that piece of aluminum as tight as it'll go. I tightened down the screws for the intonation as tight as they will go. But also, like, just trying to get these saddles intonated to any sort of degree. I have tried reseating the strings up here at the nut. I've tried lubing the nut a little bit. I've tried re-stretching all the strings. This fucking thing does not hold tuning at all. At all. At all. Do not buy an instrument that does not hold its tuning at all. That does not make this an instrument. That makes this a fucking toy at best. And of course, I almost forgot. How does this thing sound? Now remember, these are active pickups. They kind of have to be because I want to do quote marks in the air because they don't sound like active pickups to me. They sound horrible. But they have to be active pickups because they absolutely won't function without having a battery in that battery compartment. So, yeah, this is what these things sound like. Like, to me, they don't even sound like active humbuckers. They sound like really, really bad active single coils. But then, much to my amazement, you hit the coil tap switch and you actually do get a different tone out of it. All right, full on. Split. Like, the neck pickup is almost passable, but goddamn, like, if you're gonna play any sort of rock music, you need a better bridge pickup than that. It's just so weak-willed. It's so flaccid. And by the way, this is going through the Dover DA50. This is literally, okay, I tried this thing through literally every amp that I own. I tried it through several different amp sims. This is literally the best we've been able to get it to sound. There's that tuning stability already. I haven't even touched the bridge yet. Thankfully, I don't seem to have the same issue a lot of other guys have reported having, where they do a dive bomb and the string just pops out. Like, mine doesn't seem to be doing that, but goddamn, what does it matter if it won't stay in tune? And it's a damn shame, too, because honestly, this thing responds like a Floyd, but it doesn't hold its tuning worth a fuck. So overall, my final opinion, as if you guys couldn't have figured it out by now, is that this thing is a ginormous piece of shit. Now, I'm not going to stoop to the same level that a lot of other people on the internet are stooping to and calling the owner names and shit like that. And I would also not tell you that this video is a hit piece. There again, every single time that I go into one of these unbiased gear reviews, I intend to write a positive review. The only time negative reviews actually come forth is when there's literally no choice. When I go into one of these videos, I'm going into it with the hope and just complete intention of being able to wax eloquent to all of you guys about, oh my God, this is the product that you need. Guess what? It's not. In this particular instance, this thing is a steaming pile of dog shit. I mean, I don't know what else I can say about this thing. It's garbage. It won't hold its tuning. The pickups are one thing. Like the electronics should probably be just completely gutted out of this thing, and a better set of pickups can be put in. But God, who the fuck would want to if it won't even hold its tuning? I would not even say that this thing is a mod piece. It can't be modded. And I already hear some people saying, well, why not just block the trem? That won't do anything because of the amount of give that the ball end of the string has. So, like, unless there's a completely different bridge that can be put onto this thing, which, good luck finding one, you can't route this body to fit a different one because it's aluminum. I mean, I've never been a machinist, so I don't know what can be done about the aluminum body on this thing if you wanted to sort of retrofit maybe a Floyd or something on here. But honestly, I doubt that it would work. And here's the other thing too. If you needed to retrofit another set of humbuckers on this thing, if you wanted to try to get this thing to sound good, tuning issues be damned, you do have to pull the entire body apart in order to do that. Because even though you can get in there through this cavity cover to take care of the electronics, you cannot remove the bridge pickup because there is a piece in there that is just holding it down when the body is actually affixed together like this. So in order to swap out the pickups, it's an arduous task. You have to undo each one of these screws around the perimeter of the body in order to take this thing apart. And as if that wasn't enough, there's also two other screws underneath this cavity cover for the neck joint that are also holding those two together, only they're going in the opposite direction. So now you've got to remove the neck as well just to do a pickup swap. Are you fucking kidding me? No, fuck this thing. This thing is a horrible, horrible monstrosity pretending to be an instrument. Like I said before, at best, this thing is a toy. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to the review of this piece of shit. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the comments section below. I can't wait to read them. And as always, remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel. There is tons more metal guitar, well, literally metal guitar oriented content to come. And remember, take what you do seriously. For fuck's sake, someone at Koloss, take what you do seriously. But do not take yourself too seriously.